So I am really excited about this young lady, and I want to thank her for her flexibility. There was a little bit of a timing issue there. However, we're ready to go. And Kareen did an amazing job, just so much about empathy that I really, really wanted to, bring her in, because empathy is something we really, really need right now. So Ivana Štulić is a positive psychology trainer, coach, consultant, and speaker all the way from Croatia. She specializes in helping leaders, HR professionals, and individuals implement positive psychology strategies that help people thrive. And Suzanne used that term this morning, and it's a common theme around positive psychology. Ivana has a master's in applied positive psychology from Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge, and has just launched her first book, which I've put my name down for a copy, but as she tells me, I have to wait till it gets translated into English because I won't be able to read a thing. I'm sure it'd still be good. So I'm really looking forward to this. She's going to empower us to maintain our well-being despite the current circumstances. Please put your hands together and help me to welcome Ivana as she comes to talk to us right now.
Good morning, Grant, and everybody else, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm so excited to be here. I'm happy that we managed to rearrange the schedule this morning so that everything worked out. I would like to say hello to everyone wherever you are in the world. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to talk about well-being, since we are definitely under circumstances that are different from everything that we've known before. As Grant already introduced me, I work with both individuals and organizations in applying strategies that will help them thrive and really use their potentials. And this is the work I'm very in love with, and I'm happy to do every day. So let me just start my presentation. So just give me a little moment. Okay. So there we are. I hope that you can see my presentation, and Grant, I'm sure you'll let me know if there's some problem or anything. So I'm going to talk about how to maintain your well-being despite current circumstances, which I say is a very important topic right now. But first, a brief introduction about positive psychology, since I'm not sure that you have already watched all of the beautiful people and experts that have been giving out talks during this summit. What I find to be quite common is that there is a misconception about what positive psychology is. It's not the same as positive thinking, meaning that we are not trying to have, pink glasses on and trying to see the world through a different lens than and not being very realistic about what's going on in the world. So that is not what positive psychology is. Positive psychology is a scientific discipline that was started in the 80s of last century, and it is actually trying to understand human functioning and what makes it optimal. So it's trying to understand both on a personal level and on a community or a team level in organizations, as well as in a society level, what makes us really thrive and really function well. Also, overall, the goal of positive psychology and all of the intervention that it is offering is to change the mental health spectrum image. And that is to say that if you look at the, let's say, normal distribution of the amount of people who have mental disorders, the amount of people who are languishing, the amount of people who have a moderate mental health, and those who are flourishing, positive psychology is trying to move this spectrum so that there will be more people who have, if not moderate, if not languishing, then moderate mental health, and then if not moderate, to have them actually flourish. What I love about it is that it's science-based. It's people who are all over the world, scientists who are offering us so many insights, as our previous speaker has also pointed out very, very precisely. And all we need to do is to be smart enough to just apply these conclusions to our own lives. As for the topic of well-being, which is what I'll be talking about today, I first will need to define it a little bit because you are going to find different definitions of what well-being is. Let's say that as a first thought, it does include happiness, but it includes life satisfaction. So looking at life from a bigger perspective, a sense of purpose, a sense of control over your own life. And definitely it has different elements to it. So we are talking about emotional well-being and physical and social and workplace well-being, as well as societal well-being. So you can see that it is quite a complex construct, but I'm going to be speaking about well-being today on a very personal level, and how you can actually do some very, thought out interventions that are going to help you to maintain your own well-being. For that, I will be using a very well-known well-being model that was designed by Martin Seligman, who is known as the father of positive psychology, and who has said that we need these 5 elements for our well-being. First being P as positive emotions, E as engagement, R as positive relationships, M as meaning, and A as accomplishment. And only recently, another letter has been added to this model, and that is the letter H for health. So today, throughout my presentation, I will be focusing more on positive emotions. So I will just briefly explain the other elements of the model for you this morning. So what do we mean by engagement? Engagement means, being very engaged about whatever it is we are doing, about work that we are doing, or any other activity that we might get ourselves into. Sometimes we also refer to engagement as progressing into flow, into that particular state that Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has described so well. And that is the state when we are completely immersed in what we are doing, and we forget about time, we forget about whether or not we're hungry or thirsty, and we're just really into what we're doing. So engagement is also an important part of our well-being, and we should try to have activities throughout the day that make us feel engaged. Then there are positive relationships. Corinne has spoken so beautifully about what is important on a societal level, and how to develop our empathy and our social connections. So yes, these are very important. It has been proven that the quality of our relationships can determine our well-being even more, and have a more positive effect than, for example, the characteristics, some health characteristics, like whether or not we intake alcohol, or whether or not we smoke, or whether or not we are obese. So definitely we can counterpart even some, let's say, bad habits that we are doing with really positive relationships. Then there's meaning. We humans somehow need meaning in our lives, and we need to be active about finding it. It can be just looking at life as something bigger than ourselves, and trying to find our own purpose and meaning and mission in life, whether through work or through any other activity, or to just engage in meaningful activities that we find meaningful throughout the day. And then there's also accomplishment. So basically setting goals, even small ones counts, throughout everything that has been happening to us in the last couple of months. Our goals can be just, to get through the day, to be able to have a really good and healthy meal, or maybe, just to reach out to somebody you haven't spoken to in a long while, or if it's to contact a new person that might be a lead for your business. So it's important to set goals. It can be these small ones, or it can be bigger ones. Grant has previously mentioned that I've recently published a book, and this has been a really huge goal of mine for the past, I don't know how many years, and it took me more than 2 years to be able to publish it. So we need to think of goals that we really want and that are important for us. And then there's, of course, health. And by health, I mean our physical and our mental health. And we need to take care of our bodies as well as our minds and our hearts. So we need to, sleep well, eat healthily, exercise enough, and all that, so that we can keep our health up. So this is like an overview of the well-being module. And now I'm going to focus more deeply into the first element, and that is positive emotions. Why is that important? Well, it's important today more than ever, I would say, because we are exposed to so many sources of not so pleasant emotions. Sometimes people ask me, so if you're saying that there are positive emotions, you mean to say that there's also negative emotions? Well, just to be, very, let's say practical, yes, but by negative, we don't mean that these emotions do not serve a purpose. All emotions have a certain purpose in our lives. However, we want to make a distinction in between those that are positive, so more comfortable emotions, and those that are negative, so more uncomfortable emotions. And definitely, if we are, let's say, exposed to a lot of negative emotions, we know that this can take a toll. As Karin has already mentioned, our brains are primed so that we take the negative emotions, let's say, more seriously and more intensely, so that we need more positive emotions to balance each other out. So when we speak about positive emotions, probably some come to mind, and these are most common ones like joy or happiness. However, there's a lot more positive emotions. For example, peace. It's something that is very important at this moment in time. And because we are so, let's say, exposed to a lot of bad news and everything that everything that's happening in the world, it is even more important that we try to find our own inner peace. By the way, there is research that has been done that has proven that people who are watching the news on a regular basis are feeling more depressed, more anxious, more stressed out, and are overall less happy with their lives. To be honest, I'm not surprised. I'm guessing that you're not surprised either. And I think it's very important to stress this out now. Yes, we do need to stay informed, but if you have the habit of watching the news, from morning till before you go to sleep, on TV, on your phone, or reading the newspaper, it's definitely too much to take in at this moment, and we should be more careful about how much of these negative news we are taking in. Now back to other positive emotions. As I mentioned, there's more than just the few. There's enthusiasm, there's inspiration, and I'm sure that you can remember many times in your life when inspiration was great, and something that gave you a really good inner feeling. Then there's awe. For example, when you're looking at a beautiful sunset or a beautiful landscape and you're just admiring the beauty in front of you. Then there's relief. I'm sure you can relate to that after something that you were very stressed out about has ended and you start to feel a great sense of relief. Then there's contentment, which is not as intense of an emotion, but definitely something that we can live with and we find pleasant. Then there's pride, in a very positive sense, when we take pride in whatever it is that we have achieved, or we take pride in our kids or in our family and what they have achieved for themselves. And then there's hope and so many other positive emotions. So according to some research, it's more than 40 positive emotions that we can pinpoint. So when we speak about positive emotions, we're not thinking about, the happy, sparkly, joy type of positive emotion, but all of these others that all have a service and a purpose in our lives. And why are these positive emotions so important? This is one other thing I wanted to point out. There is, you've probably heard of Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, who is one of the most prominent scientists in the field of, and she is the author of Broaden and Build theory, which to sum up means that positive emotions are the ones that broaden our awareness and over time enable us the building of our resources. Meaning that positive emotions are not only, nice and they feel pleasant to us, they make us think differently. So that's why it's very important right now to give an emphasis on positive emotions and to somehow induce them in us. Because, when you start to feel bad and you start to think in negative patterns, you sometimes spiral down and you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. well, you can't even when you are stuck in those negative emotions. So you need a boost of positive emotions to get you out of that negative thinking as well. So this is a very important service of positive emotions. And now I'm going to give you some ideas on how to induce positive emotions in you personally. This is very focused on you. Of course, if I would be presenting to people who are HR managers or leaders in companies, then there are some things that are the same, and again, there are some things that are different, and they relate more to workplace well-being. So, how can you induce positive emotions in you? I've mentioned before the emotion of peace. And mindfulness is a great source of peace and calm. So if you haven't tried mindfulness yet, I definitely recommend that you try to engage in some techniques that are going to help you out. One of the very, let's say, simple and basic ones is conscientious breathing. So even though this is a presentation, I'm going to invite all of you that are watching right now is to try a little breathing exercise with me. So wherever you are, whether or not you're standing or sitting, please try to engage in a couple of deep breaths with me. You can do that by inhaling with your nose and then exhaling with your mouth. Okay, so try to stand up straight or sit up straight and just do this. You can do this in your own rhythm. You don't have to follow mine. Just do a couple more. And just notice, how are you feeling right now? I'm pretty sure you feel at least a little bit more relaxed than you did when we started out this exercise. And that is the point of mindfulness. I can also notice that I've started to speak a little bit more slowly. So yes, I'm also more relaxed by doing this. It has been shown that it's enough to breathe in a deep way like we just did right now, 6 times in order to reset our nervous system. So if you find yourself in a panicky state or really, really stressed out or anxious about something, it's really good to start this conscientious breathing. It's something that we all have wherever we are, available, and that is what is so powerful about it. I will tell you how I use it personally. For example, when I'm in traffic and there is a situation that stresses me out, for example, I almost got into a car accident. I try to do this exercise while I'm driving so that I calm myself down and I'm not a dangerous driver to continue my journey. Also, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but here in Croatia, we've had quite a big earthquake in March. It was a 5.4 earthquake, and I know this is not, the highest in the scale, and there have been more devastating earthquakes throughout the world previously. However, it is quite new to the area here in Croatia, and I remember being really, really scared. And I noticed that I froze completely, about it's that fight or flight or freeze instinct that happens to us instinctively. And I just started to breathe more deeply just to calm myself down so that I can be more rational about what action I'm going to take next. So if you feel like you are stressed out, this is definitely something that you should engage in. And also another mindfulness well-known technique is meditation. I myself have been a practitioner for the past 8 years, and it is a practice that has helped me out tremendously to keep calm. So when something stressful happens, I don't I'm not thrown out of my balance that easily, or even if I am, the amplitude is not that high, and I can get back to my calm state more quickly and more easily. So I suggest definitely you try one of these practices out. If you're regular at it, then it helps you to just build your resources, and then you're able to be more resilient to whatever is happening around you. Then there is exercise. We all know that exercise is good for us. It's not good only for our health, but also for our psyche. So it's important to get out and move. It can be just regular walking. I myself am a hiker, and I really enjoyed that activity. And then when you climb on top of a mountain, you're also rewarded with a beautiful view. If this is not your cup of tea, try to find some other type of exercise that is going to work for you, but definitely stay moving, especially now. Even if you're locked down, you can try to, get out of the house just to make a little quick round around the block, or while you can, or just move around the house and try to be engaged in that movement. Then I wanted to share a personal picture of mine, and this is me enjoying ice cream. So I'm not trying to promote not so healthy habits with this picture. I'm just trying to say that every now and then you do need to indulge in some little pleasure. Of course, if you have some health risks, then you should be very careful about that. But if not, it is okay to indulge a little here and there. And it maybe not be ice cream for you guys, it may be something else, but definitely if it is food that you really savor it, and that you take your time to chew, to feel all of the taste in your mouth, and that just give yourself the time to enjoy it. So this is also being mindful in practice, and this is one example on how you can do it. Then there is enjoying nature. Again, if you can't really move out, then this is not maybe applicable to you. But if you can, if there's just a patch of green grass next to you, this is something that you can enjoy. It has been proven that you can spend as little as 10-15 minutes outside in a park, that you can change your own state. So please get out there, enjoy everything that nature has to offer. I myself am a very big fan of flowers. During springtime, which I know Australia is in springtime now, as we are here in autumn in Europe, it's just beautiful and flowering and flourishing everywhere. So please take the time to enjoy it. Then there are pets. Whether or not you're a dog or a cat person, or you have any other pets around you, these can be a source of great positive emotion. Just to play with them, to engage in some kind of, let's say, a conversation with your pets. And if you have them, bless you, you can really enjoy them these days. Then there's kids, or even if you don't have kids, try to engage in some playfulness with the people around you. We need that. Play is a great source of positive emotions. It's something that it comes naturally to us humans, and we definitely have to give ourselves the permission to be silly and to just play and enjoy these activities. Then I'm giving you some other pointers. For example, enjoying music. Maybe you're playing an instrument, maybe you're just singing along, or just enjoying listening to good music. This is a great source of positive emotions. Or being creative, drawing, painting, sculpting, whatever it is, making jewelry, anything you can think of that makes you feel engaged and gives you a lot of positive emotions. There's a particular creative project that I've found in the past months and that I really enjoy. It's called the color crawl. So a family gets out of the house, makes a round around the block, and they try to find objects that have the same color. And then later on, they make a collage out of all of these photos. I think it's beautiful. It's so simple, and it definitely enables you to also to connect with the people who you are doing it with. You can also do yoga or any kind of stretching exercises that are also going to help you feel better in your body. Or just a step up, dance. Of course, we cannot do this in a group of people right now. I'm a big fan of dance. I've been dancing, for more than 20 years. And how do I give myself a boost with positive emotions? For example, when I'm delivering a training or a coaching session and I'm not feeling that well, I just put on one of my favorite songs that I know always gets me moving, and I just jump around the house a little bit and get myself worked up, and then I change my energy with this little dance, and then I sit down and deliver my presentation in a completely different state than before. Again, if this is all not working out for you, then maybe you're a fan of bubble baths or any other activity, or a good massage, so something that is going to help you again relax or engage in positive emotions. So these are my suggestions. Of course, some may work for you, some may not, but it is important for you to find the ones that work for you. And especially now, as I said, because we are just exposed to a lot of sources of potential negative emotions, we need to be more deliberate about engaging in positive emotions. Okay, so put something of this or any other idea that came to the top of your mind on your schedule, and just to make sure you do something like this for yourself throughout the day, and probably and would be beneficial if you would do something like this every day. And on top of all that, I'm going to mention some very nice interventions that you can do that also induce positive emotions. One is practicing gratitude. I'm pretty sure you have heard about this intervention. It's called the 3 good things. And it has been proven that people who practice this intervention on a regular basis become happier, more calm, and are more resilient to any other sources of stress. So how do you practice gratitude? You can just, wherever you are, stop for a moment and say, oh my God, I'm so grateful right now for example, being here, being able to deliver this presentation for you, or I'm happy that I am still quite healthy. I'm happy for my family. I'm happy or grateful that there's a beautiful sunshiny day outside. You can be happy for a good cup of coffee that you're having. It can be really small things or even bigger ones, but you need to feel that gratitude. So again, I will briefly invite you to try to think of at least one thing you're grateful for, and just give yourself the time to really feel that. Oh my God, I'm so grateful right now. To be honest, for the internet, because it's enabled us to reach out to each other, to connect, or whether or not we are in the same part of the world, and it's enabled us to continue also working and to be connected with the relatives I might not be able to see on a regular basis in person. I really am grateful for that. So when you give yourself the time to feel that gratitude, it's like a warm, fuzzy feeling that flows all over you, and it completely changes your energy. So if you haven't had the habit of practicing gratitude on a regular basis, I suggest you try to do that. It's a great thing to maybe also journal what you're grateful for, and you're going to find that over time you're finding more and more things to be grateful for. And it's a great exercise you can do with your family before you go to sleep, just to chat and ask each other, okay, what are you grateful for today? What good has happened today? And this can be a great source of also connecting all of you together. So I hope I have given you enough very practical tips on how to not only maintain, but to just give a rise to your level of well-being. And my conclusion would be that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And we need, as I said, to be more deliberate about maintaining our well-being, about building our own resilience, and thus enabling us to go through all of this experience, not only surviving, but being able to also use this as a point of growth and really thrive in the long run. I want to thank you for being present in this presentation. I hope it has been useful for you, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Fantastic. Absolutely love that. Wow. I was listening to you and just giving people a chance. I've asked them to type in their questions because we've got a couple of minutes to answer a couple. I was just going through the list and I typed out something, and you know, so I live right on the Botanic Gardens. It's the largest botanic gardens in the Southern Hemisphere. So I love to get out every morning, go for a walk, you know, to start my day, just get my head clear. I listen to some podcasts, I do some meditation, some reflection. I get to go up some hills so my heart gets pumping, and I get to do some flat stuff as well. And I get to get in nature. And then I get to come home and my toy poodle is waiting for me, and she loves to jump all over me. So, hey, I was ticking those things off, and I'm going to continue to do them. So thank you so much. I know from the comments that were coming through that people are, you know, getting some great ideas there. We really wanted to make this a practical summit that said, hey, we're going to look after ourselves right now. What can we do? How can we apply positive psychology, emotional intelligence? So thank you so much, Ivana, for sharing that with us. I'm sure that everyone will join with me to say it's really, really, really helpful. So thank you.
Thank you. It's been a great pleasure being here. If there are any other questions you want to ask me, you can always connect with me on social media, especially on LinkedIn, where most of my content is in English, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you beautiful people.
Fantastic. Well, there's a Praise has said that she's already typed her question. I think it must have been a little bit earlier, so I'm not able to find it in the chat. So Praise, if you could just type in your question again, that would be fantastic. People saying thank you everywhere. Just while Praise is typing her question, I had like I've seriously got things buzzing and beeping everywhere. Everyone contacts me on all these different you know, medias, and you know, there's this whole thing. There's a thinking out there that's contrary to what you and I believe, and that is that there are positive and negative emotions, and people are actually speaking against that and going, no emotion is positive or negative. They're all, you know, there for a reason. And I just want to make a distinction. I would agree with you that there are, and with all the research, that there are definitely positive and a negative emotion. There's no such thing as good and bad emotions. I think that's the distinction that people get mixed up. All emotions are good because they serve a purpose of being a cue and a clue of what's going on right now so that we can navigate through that. However, there are definitely, in my understanding, as it is in yours, there are definitely positive and negative emotions. If I could just add to that a little bit, the thing that really matters, though, if we don't get caught up in the semantics of all that, is that the response or reaction, the response to the emotion is where the positivity or negativity or the good or the bad can come in. And that's where, you know, practicing in emotional intelligence, practicing positive psychology, understanding the neuroscience behind that, that's why this is so vital. So Praise has got her question now, but I just wanted you to just, you know, either agree with me, disagree, or just add something to that, and then we'll get Praise's question.
Grant, I do agree with you, but I think it's semantic that triples us quite often, you know, and we people tend to also have prejudice about the semantics that we're using about all of this. So I try not to, you know, sweat the small stuff, and I just try to speak in terms of what is of practical use or not. As I said, positive emotions serve a different person than negative emotions, so they make us think differently, and that's why it's important for us to be active creators of these emotions in us, not just to wait that something from the outside induces these emotions in us. We need to be very deliberate and have routines and have, you know, sessions, or however you want to call them, that are going to enable us to experience positive emotions, so that we can actually change the way we think, and we start to be more optimistic and not so stressed out as everything that's happened around us.
Yeah, fantastic. Totally agree. You know, and we get tied up in the semantics and we miss the message. You know, we throw the baby out with the bathwater because we're fighting over, you know, whether it's exactly right. You know, what I've learned over the years is to get the concept, take the concept of what we're talking about and apply that rather than, you know, look for reasons. And we know sometimes why we do this, because it's a self-sabotage strategy. When someone hands us a, you know, on a platter, a way to feel better, a way to come out of the funk that we might be in or whatever, our mini-me sometimes fights that. So we look for the semantics so that we can discredit it. But anyway, so going on with that, the question from, oh, it's gone now. Let me just find it again. The question from Praise was, oh, it's now gone again. I saw it though. What it was whether or not there are, and I think this is why she's taken it off, and it's fine, Praise, whether or not there are intelligent or dull emotions. Now, I'm not quite understanding exactly what context you're meaning by intelligent, but once again, it's how we use those signals that's most important. Would you agree, Ivana?
Yes, definitely. And I would like to make also an important distinction between the intensity of different emotions. As I was naming different positive emotions that we can experience, I was also putting up those that are high intensity, for example, joy, excitement, enthusiasm. They are high intensity and they are positive, but there's also, let's say, peace and contentment that are not nearly as intense and, you know, out there, and are not equally important, but maybe even in some cases more important than the very exciting ones. So you should not try to, if you're very depressed, you should not try to go directly to joy. You need something in between, you know, a less intense but also pleasant emotion to go through.
Love that. So, Ivana, once again, from all of us to you, thank you so much for giving of your time, from giving of your expertise. I can see the passion just flowing out of you. Please get that book translated into English so that I can get a copy. I'm really looking forward to it. Connect with Ivana, everyone. If you have any more questions, get them through to us. We'll get them to her somewhere. So thank you so much, Ivana. You can go and relax now and you know, check out the stream. And I'm going to bring on our next speaker. So thank you again.
Thank you. And if you are again interested in coaching, training, or consultancy regarding positive psychology, either in the workplace or individually, I will be happy to serve you. And yes, Grant, I am very passionate about this topic, and I think it does come across, as you've mentioned, and I'm happy to be of service, especially now when all of the world is facing something that we've never seen before. I wish you all the best.
Fantastic.
Good luck with the next speakers. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.